Hi there. Another book review for you. Something I've just finished reading. It's called Inside the Soul of Islam by Mamoon Yusaf. Inside the Soul of Islam by Mamoon Yusaf. I've been reading it over a couple of months, just bits and bobs. It's written by a British Muslim brought up in England, and he talks of the book's in about two or three parts. The first bit is about his own sort of Islamic spiritual journey. The second bit is talking about Islam, and then his own views just about things in the world to do with Islam. And initially, when he started, I think he was all talking about the issues with terrorism and how it's perceived in the media, but he's somebody who's a personal development coach, and he talks about something called the inside out paradigm. And essentially what he's saying is that we put emotions on different objects and things, and think that they are responsible for creating those emotions in us, but actually we create those emotions ourselves. So that's what he means by the inside out paradigm instead of the outside in paradigm. So not something doesn't create that in you, you create that within yourself. So that's it seems like an obvious thing, but it's when you sort of think about it. I mean, most people don't live their lives like that. So they see something, they react to it, they get angry, they get upset, emotional, whatever, and think that that thing outside of themselves is what has created that. So he goes into that in quite a bit of detail, and he's, I think his coaching sort of work is based around that. But he's also a practicing Muslim, so he talks about Islam also from that angle and from that viewpoint. And he talks about Islam in a very easy to understand way, and he breaks it down and he breaks the language down. So there's not a lot of very sort of complex Arabic or anything. He talks about some of the Arabic terms that are used in Islam, and he breaks it down for a Western audience so that they can understand what that means. And and that's really good, because some of the things that he breaks down, when you think about it, make a lot of sense. There's a book I used to read, I read ages ago, called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. And it's a book that's quoted a lot by a lot of people. It's one of these kind of personal development books that people use on their personal development, spiritual journeys and everything. But when he actually broke the title down into Arabic, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior basically would be the Sharia of the Islamic jihadi. So when you go, oh, right, now that sounds very, very different from The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, but that's actually what a word for word translation, what it actually means. So when he discusses that in this, you go, oh, okay, so a lot of these things that like he talks about jihad, he talks about, the concept of Tawheed, the oneness of God. All of these things that he talks about, he talks about, he really breaks it down and you get it. And especially if you're not from a Muslim background, it's a great book to read, I think. If you've never read anything about Islam, this is probably one of the books I think that would be a good one to read, because when his style of writing is very much like just a guy that you know as a friend. So it's not like a textbook or anything like that. So yeah, I think this is a good book to read. Even if you are a Muslim and you want to be able to explain something to another person in a way that is, you can sort of break it down. This is a good book to read. I found there's a lot of things that I read and I thought I knew, but you forget about it. It's like they say that an educated person is somebody who once knew, and it's like a lot of these things you go, yeah, I know that, but I had to be reminded of them again. Like if somebody said, talk about, I mean, there was a few examples here. I mean, he talks about the Islamic idea You know, things that the Prophet, how he dealt with anger, things like that. And you kind of know that, but when he talks about it in the book, you kind of go, oh, like that really makes sense. What's, I mean, some great things that you know that the Prophet had said, but then he puts it down here. You know, he talks about anger. Strong is not the one who can win a fight. Strong is the one who can control their anger. And he talks about how references in the Quran and everything. But the way that he's put it together, very easy to read, makes a lot of sense. There are other books that probably do this in a lot more detail, but this is quite good in that I think it's just a kind of nice, easy to read, bedside type book. And if you're looking for something like that that isn't really heavy, but maybe gives you a reminder again, and it's not just for people who are Muslims. It's actually probably aimed more for people who are not Muslims, in that it gives them I would say a really good insight into the spiritual ideas of Islam. It's practiced by 1.8 billion people. There must be a reason why they're into it, and why they continue to be Muslims, and what they find in it. And I think this is quite a good book in trying to explain that. I'm just having a quick look through what else I could say to you about here. I mean, okay, it actually covers quite a lot of things, and I'm quite surprised looking back over it, and because the guy's a personal development kind of coach, you know, he throws in that kind of language as well. Anyway, I thought it was quite good. I would give it, 6 or 7 out of 10. It's a kind of book, it's going to be on my shelf. I will probably look back at it from time to time, and a lot of the stuff you probably go, yeah, I kind of knew that, but you need to be reminded. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Inside the Soul of Islam by Mamoon Yusuf. And I hope you guys are safe, keeping safe. Hope everything's good. All right.